What if the internet wasn't our invention, but nature's? We think of the web as a human creation, servers, codes, satellites. But long before we existed, nature had already built decentralized networks, data storage, and even something like social media. The difference is, nature's internet isn't made of silicon, it's made of life. Take the forest. Trees don't just stand alone. Underground, fungi link their roots into a massive communication system. Scientists call it the wood wide web. Through these fungal threads, trees send nutrients to each other. They warn about droughts or insect attacks. Some even favor their own species, like a plant version of group chats. Ant colonies work the same way. No single ant is in charge. Instead, they follow simple rules, leaving chemical trails that guide the rest. The colony acts as one mind, solving problems without a leader. Sound familiar? It's how the internet routes data. No central command, just packets finding the fastest path. Then there's the brain. Billions of neurons firing, passing signals in a web so complex we still don't fully understand it. The internet mirrors this structure. Servers as neurons, cables as synapses. We didn't copy nature directly, but the patterns are the same. Bees don't use GPS, they dance. A scout returns to the hive and moves in precise patterns, encoding distance and direction to flowers. Other bees decode this, flying straight to the target. It's a wireless transmission, just without the Wi-Fi. Even bacteria communicate. They release chemicals to sense their numbers, deciding when to act as a group. At a certain threshold, they attack a host or form a biofilm. This is quorum sensing, nature's version of network protocols. Slime mold, a single-celled organism, can solve mazes. Place it in a labyrinth with food at the end, and it grows the most efficient route. Scientists use it to model road systems, no engineer required. DNA stores data better than any hard drive. All the instructions for life fit into a microscopic space. Some researchers now encode digital information into synthetic DNA because nature's method lasts longer and holds more. So did we invent the internet, or just rediscover what nature already perfected? Plato suggested that our world is a shadow of ideal forms. Maybe human technology is the same, an attempt to recreate systems that already exist in nature. The Gaia hypothesis argues Earth itself functions like a living organism, with interconnected systems maintaining balance. If that's true, then the internet isn't artificial. It's just another layer in a billion-year-old network. But nature's web has threats too. Parasites hijack their hosts, altering behavior to spread further. Some fungi control ants, turning them into zombies. It's a biological hack, an exploit in the system. Now we're merging both worlds. Scientists grow brain cells on chips, testing hybrid computers. Engineers study swarm logic to improve robotics. Maybe one day, our internet will fully blend with nature's, not as a human creation, but as an evolution of what was already there. So the next time you send a message online, think about this. Trees have been doing the same thing, silently, for millennia. The internet isn't human, it's ancient, and we're just beginning to understand how deep the connection goes. Beneath every forest, hidden from sight, there exists a network more intricate than any human creation. It connects trees across vast distances, allowing them to communicate, trade resources, and even influence their environment. This is the Wood Wide Web, a living internet built by fungi over millions of years. Trees don't just compete for sunlight and water, they cooperate. Their roots intertwine with fungal threads, forming partnerships where both benefit. The fungi deliver nutrients from the soil, and in return, the trees provide sugars made through photosynthesis. But this exchange goes beyond simple trade. When a tree is under attack by insects, disease, or drought, it sends chemical signals through the fungal network. Nearby trees detect these warnings and prepare their own defenses. Some produce toxins to deter pests. Others alter their root growth to find water faster. The forest doesn't just react, it anticipates. Older trees, often called mother trees, play a key role. They distribute resources to younger saplings, even those of different species. If a seedling struggles, the network redirects nutrients to help it survive. In experiments, scientists traced carbon molecules moving from a healthy tree to a shaded, struggling one, proof of an underground support system. This isn't just communication, it's decision-making. Trees influence which plants thrive and which don't. Some species favor their own kind, while others maintain balance by supporting diverse growth. The forest operates like a democracy with no central authority, just countless interactions shaping the ecosystem. Ant colonies function in a similar way. No single ant directs the group. Instead, each follows simple rules. Leave a scent trail when food is found, follow the strongest path, adjust when obstacles appear. Together, they solve complex problems without any leader. This is how blockchain works. No central server controls the data. Instead, thousands of computers follow protocols, verifying transactions through consensus. Ants do the same thing. Their trails are like transaction records, constantly updated based on the colony's needs. If a path is blocked, they adapt immediately, finding the next best route. The human brain works like this too. Neurons don't have a command center. Each one connects to thousands of others, firing signals in patterns that create thought, memory, and decision-making. The internet mirrors this structure, servers as neurons, data packets as electrical impulses. We didn't invent these systems, we observe them. The natural world has been running decentralized networks since long before the first computer. Trees, ants, and neurons all follow the same principle. Simple units, connected correctly, create intelligence far greater than any single part. The difference is, nature's networks have had billions of years to refine themselves. The internet, in comparison, is still in its earliest stages. If we want to build better systems, perhaps we should look closer at the ones that already work. The Wood Wide Web doesn't need engineers. Ant colonies don't require programmers. The brain doesn't rely on software updates. They just function, efficiently, resiliently, without unnecessary complexity. Human technology often tries to control nature, but maybe the real breakthrough is realizing we don't have to. The best networks already exist. They've been here the whole time. Plants don't have voices. They don't need them. Instead, they've developed something far more efficient: chemical communication. When a leaf gets eaten by insects, it releases volatile compounds into the air. Nearby plants detect these signals and immediately begin producing defensive chemicals. This isn't random, it's targeted information transfer, not unlike how data packets move across computer networks. The damaged plant is essentially sending a warning message, and others are programmed to respond. Bees take this communication further. When a scout finds a new food source, it returns to the hive and performs what scientists call the waggle dance. The duration and angle of these movements contain precise coordinates: distance, direction, even quality of the food. Other bees decode this information and fly directly to the location. It's a live broadcast system, more efficient than many human-designed navigation technologies. The entire colony benefits from this real-time data sharing without any central control. Microorganisms communicate too, but on a microscopic scale. Bacteria release chemical signals to sense their population density. When enough bacteria are present, when they vote by consensus, they collectively change behavior. Some launch attacks on hosts, others form protective biofilms. This quorum sensing allows trillions of individual cells to act as one coordinated system. It's nature's version of distributed decision-making, where simple rules create complex group behaviors. Slime molds demonstrate another remarkable natural algorithm. These single-celled organisms can solve complex pathfinding problems despite having no brain. Place a slime mold in a maze with food at the exit, and it will grow along the most efficient route. Remarkably, when researchers arranged oat flakes in the pattern of Tokyo's subway system, the slime mold recreated the actual rail network, a solution human engineers took decades to develop. The mold doesn't plan. It simply reacts to chemical gradients, with each cell following basic rules that collectively produce intelligent solutions. Bird flocks show similar emergent intelligence. When starlings form those mesmerizing swirling murmurations, there's no leader directing the movement. Each bird follows 3 simple rules: stay close to neighbors, match their speed, and avoid collisions. From these minimal instructions, the group moves as one fluid entity, reacting instantly to predators or obstacles. The entire system self-organizes, adapting in real time without any central control. DNA represents nature's ultimate data storage solution. All the information needed to build and maintain an organism fits into an impossibly small space. Scientists estimate 1 gram of DNA could store about 215 million gigabytes of data. enough to hold all the world's digital information in a small room. Unlike human storage devices that degrade, DNA preserved in fossils remains readable after tens of thousands of years. Some researchers are now experimenting with using synthetic DNA to archive digital information, recognizing that nature's system outperforms anything we've invented. Epigenetics reveals another layer of biological information processing. Experiences and environmental factors can leave molecular marks on DNA that influence how genes are expressed, without altering the underlying genetic code. These epigenetic changes can be passed to offspring, meaning organisms effectively upload aspects of their life experiences into their biological data system. It's a form of intergenerational memory, where significant environmental information gets preserved in chemical markers. What emerges from these examples isn't just a collection of interesting facts, but a fundamental pattern. Nature developed sophisticated information systems long before humans existed. Plants exchange data through chemical networks. Animal groups process information collectively without central control. Biological organisms store and transmit vast amounts of data in microscopic formats. These aren't crude precursors to human technology. They're refined systems perfected over evolutionary timescales. The implications are profound. When we examine how nature solves information challenges, we're not just studying biology. We're looking at alternative models for our own technological systems. The natural world demonstrates that intelligence doesn't require centralized control, that robust networks can emerge from simple components following basic rules, and that data storage can be both incredibly dense and remarkably durable. Perhaps most importantly, nature shows that complex problems often have simple solutions, if we know where to look. The most advanced information processing systems on Earth weren't built in laboratories. They grew in forests, formed in microbial communities, and evolved in the bodies of living creatures. As we face increasingly complex technological challenges, we might find that many solutions already exist. We just need to understand nature's original internet. Consider this possibility. Human innovation might not be creation, but rediscovery. Long before silicon chips and fiber optics, the natural world had already perfected systems of communication, information storage, and decentralized networks. This raises a fundamental question about technology. Are we building something new or simply uncovering principles that have existed since life began? Plato suggested that our physical world consists of imperfect copies of ideal forms. The chair you sit on is just a shadow of the perfect chairness that exists in some higher reality. Could this apply to technology as well? The internet, with its nodes and connections, resembles neural networks in brains, fungal systems in forests, and collective behaviors in insect colonies. Perhaps we're not inventing these systems so much as stumbling upon eternal patterns that nature has used since the beginning. The Gaia hypothesis takes this further by proposing that Earth functions as a single, self-regulating system. The atmosphere, oceans, and all living things interact in ways that maintain conditions for life. If this view holds, then human technology isn't separate from nature. It's an extension of the same interconnected processes. The internet wouldn't be an artificial addition, but a natural progression of Earth's evolving complexity. Some versions of panspermia even suggest life's building blocks came from space, implying these patterns might extend beyond our planet. Looking ahead, artificial intelligence presents another layer to this puzzle. Current AI systems already mimic biological learning processes. Neural networks in machine learning directly take inspiration from how brains function. As these systems grow more advanced, they may develop emergent properties similar to natural systems: self-organization, adaptation, perhaps even something resembling consciousness. This doesn't necessarily mean machines will become biological, but that intelligence, whether organic or artificial, might follow universal principles we're only beginning to understand. This perspective raises ethical considerations. Human technology often disrupts natural systems. Radio waves interfere with animal navigation, light pollution affects ecosystems, and electromagnetic fields may influence biological processes we don't yet comprehend. If nature's networks are indeed ancient, sophisticated information systems, then our technological development becomes a matter of integration rather than imposition. The challenge shifts from how to build more advanced systems to how to align them with patterns that have sustained life for billions of years. The distinction between natural and artificial begins to blur under this examination. A bird's nest is natural, but so is the bird's instinct to build it. Human technology emerges from human nature, from the same evolutionary processes that shaped all life. The internet may be the most recent manifestation of an eternal pattern. That information wants to connect, that complexity emerges from simple rules, that networks grow adapt. This doesn't diminish human achievement, but recontextualizes it. Instead of seeing ourselves as separate from nature, building atop it, we might recognize that we're participants in its ongoing story. Our technologies become less like foreign implants and more like natural developments, the latest iterations of principles that have governed life since its origins. The question then isn't whether we'll create more advanced technology, but whether we'll do so in harmony with the deeper patterns that have always existed. Perhaps the most humbling realization is that intelligence, whether biological or technological, may follow universal laws we're only beginning to decipher. The same way physics governs stars and atoms alike, information systems might obey fundamental rules that apply equally to neurons, mycelium, and computer chips. If true, then future technological progress won't come from defying nature, but from understanding it more deeply. This perspective transforms how we view our place in existence. Rather than conquerors of nature, we become students of it. Our technologies become experiments in applying ancient principles to new contexts. The internet, rather than being humanity's greatest invention, might instead be our most recent discovery, a rediscovery of how the universe has always processed information. The implications extend beyond technology to philosophy itself, suggesting that the boundaries between nature, mind, and machine may be far more permeable than we imagined. The next phase of technological development might involve less innovation in the traditional sense and more translation, learning nature's language of information and applying it in ways that benefit both civilization and the biosphere. After all, if these systems have worked for billions of years, they probably contain wisdom our young species is only beginning to appreciate. The future of technology may lie not in moving away from nature, but in moving closer to understanding its deepest patterns. Beneath the surface of nature's complex networks lies a constant battle, one that mirrors our own digital security struggles. Just as computer systems face malware and cyber attacks, biological systems have been fighting information warfare for millions of years. The strategies are strikingly similar, revealing that what we consider modern threats have ancient counterparts in the natural world. Consider parasitic organisms that manipulate their hosts. The cordyceps fungus infiltrates ants' nervous systems, forcing them to climb vegetation before killing them and sprouting fungal spores. This isn't random infection, it's precise biological hacking. The fungus alters the ant's behavior to serve its own reproductive needs, much like malware hijacks computers to spread itself. Similarly, toxoplasma parasites make infected rats lose their fear of cats, completing the parasite's life cycle when the rat gets eaten. These organisms don't just infect, they reprogram their hosts, turning them into vehicles for their own propagation. The parallels extend to how information spreads. Biological viruses and cultural ideas follow nearly identical patterns of transmission. A contagious thought moves through populations like a pathogen, jumping from mind to mind. Successful memes, whether jokes, conspiracy theories, or fashion trends, share characteristics with successful viruses. They're simple enough to copy accurately, novel enough to attract attention, and emotionally engaging enough to compel sharing. The same mathematical models that predict disease outbreaks can forecast how information will spread through social networks. Ecosystems face their own version of hacking through invasive species. When foreign organisms enter new environments, they often exploit weaknesses in existing systems. The cane toad in Australia lacks natural predators and outcompetes native species. Zebra mussels in North America clog water infrastructure and disrupt food chains. These species act like biological hackers. They find unpatched vulnerabilities in ecological networks and expand rapidly before defenses can adapt. The results mirror cyber attacks on human systems, sudden collapses, cascading failures, and expensive recovery efforts. Nature's security systems have evolved countermeasures. Plants develop chemical defenses against herbivores. Immune systems learn to recognize pathogens. Some species even deploy decoys. Certain moths emit ultrasonic signals that confuse bat echolocation. These biological firewalls and encryption methods protect against exploitation, just as digital security systems guard against cyber threats. The arms race continues endlessly. Parasites evolve new infection strategies, while hosts develop better defenses. Invasive species adapt to new environments, while ecosystems adjust to resist them. This constant back and forth drives complexity in natural systems, pushing organisms to become more sophisticated in both attack and defense. Human technology now participates in this ancient conflict. Computer viruses behave like digital parasites. Cyber attacks resemble invasive species exploiting weak points in networks. Our information ecosystems face the same fundamental challenges as biological ones: how to allow beneficial exchanges while blocking harmful intrusions. The difference is that nature has had billions of years to develop solutions, while our digital world is still in its infancy. Understanding nature's information warfare provides insights for our technological challenges. Biological systems show that perfect security is impossible. The goal is resilience. Natural networks survive not by preventing all attacks, but by containing damage and adapting quickly. They demonstrate that diversity provides protection. Monocultures are vulnerable, while varied systems withstand shocks better. Perhaps most importantly, nature's example suggests that conflict drives innovation. The constant pressure of threats forces systems to become more robust, more adaptable, more intelligent. In this light, our digital security challenges aren't anomalies. They're part of an ancient pattern of information systems defending against exploitation. The rules of this game were written long before humans existed, and we're only now learning to play by them. The implications extend beyond technology. Societies face informational threats similar to ecosystems, fake news spreading like pathogens, foreign influence operations acting like invasive species, ideological extremism functioning like mind-altering parasites. Recognizing these patterns allows us to develop better defenses, not by inventing completely new solutions, but by adapting strategies that have worked in nature for eons. As we build increasingly complex technological systems, we might benefit from studying how nature manages complexity under constant threat. The solutions to our newest problems may lie in the oldest systems, in the endless arms race that has shaped life itself. What we call cyber warfare may simply be the latest manifestation of a struggle that began when the first organisms started exchanging information. We stand at a curious crossroads where human technology and biological systems are beginning to converge. The boundaries between what grows organically and what we build artificially are becoming less distinct. This merging points toward a future where our networks might not just imitate nature. They could become part of it. Scientists are already experimenting with biocomputers that use DNA instead of silicon. DNA's four-letter code can store information far more densely than conventional hard drives. Researchers have successfully encoded movies, books, and software into synthetic DNA strands that could theoretically last for thousands of years. But beyond storage, DNA computing offers something revolutionary: the ability to process information using biological molecules. Imagine computers that solve problems not through brute force calculation, but through the same elegant molecular interactions that power living cells. Slime molds present another fascinating possibility. These simple organisms can solve complex optimization problems that challenge our fastest supercomputers. When presented with multiple food sources, they construct efficient nutrient transport networks nearly identical to human-designed railway systems. Some researchers propose using living slime molds as bioprocessors, wetware computers that grow their own solutions to spatial and logistical problems. These systems wouldn't be programmed in the traditional sense, but guided through environmental cues, much like training a plant to grow in a certain direction. The connection between biology and technology might become even more intimate through neural interfaces. Projects developing neural lace technology aim to create seamless connections between human brains and computers. If successful, this could evolve beyond simple prosthetics into full integration with information networks. The implications are profound. Direct access to nature's internet through our own neural architecture. A person might one day perceive the chemical signals of plants or the electrical impulses of microorganisms as naturally as we currently hear voices or see images. Looking further ahead, we must consider how our technological networks might evolve over geological timescales. Life has continuously developed more complex information systems over billions of years, from chemical signaling to nervous systems to human language. Our digital networks are extremely young by comparison. If they persist, they'll likely undergo transformations we can scarcely imagine today. Future networks might develop self-repair capabilities like living tissue or reproduction methods similar to cellular division. They could exhibit evolutionary patterns, with digital species emerging, competing, and adapting. Some systems might even develop autonomy, not through human-like consciousness, but through the same decentralized decision-making that governs ant colonies or fungal networks. This convergence raises fundamental questions about what constitutes technology versus life. The devices we build may increasingly incorporate biological components, while the organisms we engineer may perform technological functions. The distinction may eventually become meaningless. We'll simply have complex information processing systems, some originating from biology, others from engineering, all interconnected and evolving together. The ultimate outcome might be an ecosystem where natural and artificial systems communicate seamlessly. Plants could exchange data with satellites through bioelectronic interfaces. AI systems might learn directly from biological neural networks. Our entire planet could become a unified information processor with each component, whether carbon-based or silicon-based, playing its part in a system greater than the sum of its parts. This isn't science fiction, but a logical extension of current trajectories. We're already seeing early signs: brain-computer interfaces, DNA data storage, algorithms modeled on neural networks. The next steps will likely involve deeper integration, where the line between user and network, between organism and technology, becomes increasingly blurred. What emerges from this convergence may resemble neither pure biology nor pure technology, but something entirely new, a third category of information systems that combines the best of both worlds. These systems would have the adaptability and resilience of biological networks, combined with the precision and programmability of digital technology. They might solve problems we currently consider intractable, from climate modeling to disease treatment to interstellar communication. The most intriguing possibility is that this merger could represent not just human achievement, but the next phase in a process that began with the first self-replicating molecules. Life has always found new ways to process and transmit information. Human technology may simply be the latest development in this billion-year story. Not an endpoint, but another step in the ongoing evolution of complex systems. As we move forward, we would do well to remember that we're not creating this future from nothing. We're building upon foundations laid by nature over incomprehensible spans of time. The most successful path may not involve conquering or replacing natural systems, but learning from them, integrating with them, and ultimately continuing the work they began so long ago. The internet as we know it is just a prototype, a rough sketch of what information networks can become. The finished product, shaped by both human ingenuity and biological wisdom, may be something far more sophisticated than we can currently envision. When future historians look back, they may see our current technology not as revolutionary inventions, but as early attempts to recreate what nature had already mastered: the art of connection, communication, and collective intelligence. After exploring nature's networks and our technological parallels, we arrive at a curious inversion of perspective. We typically view the internet as humanity's greatest invention, something we built from nothing. But what if we have it backwards? Maybe the internet isn't something we created so much as something that was always meant to emerge, the inevitable next phase in a process that began with the first chemical signals between single-celled organisms. Life has been building information networks for billions of years, first through simple molecular communication, then through neural connections, social behaviors, and now through digital infrastructure. Each stage increased the speed, range, and complexity of information exchange. Seen this way, the internet appears less like an artificial construct and more like the natural progression of life's constant drive to connect. This perspective shifts how we understand our role. Humans may not be the architects of this system so much as its temporary stewards, the species that happen to develop the right conditions for this next evolutionary step. Just as flowers exist to propagate pollen and bees exist to spread it, perhaps we exist to build the bridges between biological and digital networks. The internet is changing us as much as we're changing it. Our brains adapt to process information differently in the digital age. Social structures transform under the influence of global connectivity. Even our biology may eventually interface directly with these networks through neural implants or genetic modifications. The boundary between user and system becomes increasingly blurred. This leads to a profound question. Are we building the internet, or is the internet building us? Are we the creators of this network, or participants in its growth? The answer likely lies somewhere in between. We shape the technology, but the technology reshapes humanity in return. This co-evolution mirrors how all life interacts with its environment, a constant feedback loop where each changes the other. Looking ahead, we might consider what responsibilities come with this realization. If we're not just building tools but participating in an ancient process of network development, how should we proceed? What wisdom can we take from nature's billions of years of experimentation with information systems? How can we create technology that aligns with rather than disrupts these deeper patterns? The conversation doesn't end here. These ideas raise more questions than answers, and that's precisely what makes them worth discussing. What do you think about this perspective? Have you observed other ways nature anticipates human technology? How do you see this relationship developing in the coming decades? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue exploring these ideas together. If you found this perspective interesting, consider liking and subscribing for more content that examines the unexpected connections between technology, nature, and philosophy. The most fascinating discoveries often happen at these intersections, and there's much more to explore. Remember to hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos that challenge how we see the world. And if you know someone who would find this topic fascinating, share it with them. After all, spreading ideas is what networks do best, whether biological or digital. As we sign off, consider this. The next time you go online, you're not just using a human invention. You're participating in the latest development of an ancient process, life's endless journey toward greater connection and complexity. The internet may be younger than the oldest living trees, but in some ways, it's been billions of years in the making. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next exploration of ideas that change how we understand our world. Don't forget to leave your thoughts below. The conversation is just beginning. Maybe the internet isn't artificial. Maybe it's the next step in evolution. Do you think we're building the internet? Or is the internet building us? Comment your thoughts in the comments and let's discuss further. Thank you for watching this brief, in-depth explanation. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for in-depth view of life. Thank you.